So 2 years ago, I became a father, and juggling family responsibilities with running a successful production company can feel like an absolutely impossible task, which is why I wanted to share some tips on things that have helped me develop a better work-life balance so that you can continue growing your business while not feeling like you're sacrificing time with your loved ones. One of the secrets to a good work-life balance is buying back your time, and that's why my first tip has to be around outsourcing. If it's just you in your business right now and no one else, that can be a really tough place to be in, because if you're not working, you're not generating money, therefore you're not providing the support that your family needs. And if you have to be at work all the time and switched on in work mode, it makes it really hard to be then switched on into parent mode when you go home, and you don't really kind of enjoy that time as much as you could do, because your mind's thinking about work when you're at home, and when you're at work it's thinking about being at home. So first of all, the thing that made a huge difference to me was just outsourcing certain tasks. So I brought on a virtual assistant just to help me with some very kind of basic end tasks. So it meant that I knew what the snapshot of my business was doing in terms of financial reports that I asked them to do, or I asked them to reply to a few emails that I would send their way. Because these are tasks that throughout the day take up little chunks of your time, but added together make a big difference because you're not actually getting the things done that you need to. I wonder if you've ever felt like you've got to the end of the day and thought, oh my God, I haven't literally done anything that I really needed to do because I've just been too focused on like my head in the sand, just in the trenches, working on the day-to-day running rather than the things that are actually going to grow your business. And if it is just you running a production company at the moment, then you're going to want to get yourself some freelancers, some hands that can help you on projects, because, and this is good for like just growing your business in general, because your business as a single person can only be as big as you. Whereas if you add more people to it, whether you employ them or outsource them, it means that you can generate more revenue than what you would be able to do just on your own. So I highly recommend bringing in kind of a freelancer matrix, or just in basic terms, getting a bit of paper with lots of freelancers on that you know, with examples of their work, how much their rates are, and start to build out that list. And as time goes on, you might have an event come up or something that clashes, and you can utilize those freelancers to work for you under a white label. You get them to sign a contract, you get to know them over time anyway, so you build up a really good relationship, and you can pass them work. And it's completely acceptable for you to take a cut or a percentage of that overall budget for handling the client, because in that terms, you're pretty much acting as a salesperson for that freelancer. If it wasn't for the fact that I've built up a team and a business to kind of self-operate to a point, then I wouldn't be in the position that I am now, where quite literally a couple of weeks ago, it was my son's birthday, and I realized I'd booked onto a shoot, but it wasn't a problem because I could ask one of the guys to continue with the shoot, and then I actually spent the whole day with my son, which was just a lovely ability to have. And that's the whole point of having a business at the end of the day, is to create that freedom, to be your own boss and to be able to do those things when you need to as well. But that only comes by bringing on people or surrounding yourself with good creative people that can help you out when you really need it. And you again have to buy your time back because you are sacrificing some money. Of course, we could turn over a lot more money if I didn't take that day off, etc. But at the end of the day, you bought the time back to be with your family. And at the end of the day, no one gets to the end of their life thinking, oh, I wish I just made an extra $1. So my next tip ties in really nicely with that. So we've gone from delegating our tasks and outsourcing and buying back our time to now our task prioritization, and actually making sure that we put first things first. Because like I just mentioned, you can kind of sometimes spend too much time in your business with your head down in the sand, just working day to day, going through your emails and thinking, I'm not actually getting the things done that I need to. That makes you feel stressed, and then when you go home, it's just going to kind of have a knock-on effect, and you're going to be constantly thinking about work and not actually progressing. It's going to feel like you're a bit stuck in the mud. And if that is you, then the best thing I can describe is just by doing a to-do list. Get anything from your head out into the open, whether that's on paper or an app or anything like that. And then once you've got your to-do list, every morning I do this, I do a brain dump of all the things I need to do, then start to put numbers next to them. How do they prioritize in what actually needs to be done? Because then when you get an email comes in, it can be really easy to become reactive to that email, jump straight on it. And for your high-end clients, then yes, of course, be reactive, jump on those emails. But actually for some of them, they can wait for at least a couple of hours while you finish off the task in hand, because that's only going to slow you down in the long run. It took me a long time to really understand how to separate work from family life, especially with responsibilities of being a parent, and you're kind of expected when you get home just to switch into dad mode super quick and start to take all of those responsibilities on. But if you've had a really stressful day at work, that becomes a really difficult task as well. So something that I implemented is just a 10-minute rule. So I now, when I leave work, whether I do this at the end of the day at work in the studio, or I do this on the driveway, or I do this in the house, but I just take this 10 minutes before I go from work mode into parent mode to just take a moment for myself. Now that might be something simple like scrolling through Facebook. It might be something just as meditating. It might be just taking a moment to really put work at work and leave it there, and just mull over anything you've had, any problems you've had in the day, any challenges, and just put that to one side, and then start to just, take some time to yourself, and then you're going to be a much better work version for when you walk through those doors to be straight into, right, I'm ready to be a dad now. And that was a big game changer for me. I don't know if this is different for you guys, but when I first became a parent, what became crazy to me was kind of the impact it has on the other person as well. So beforehand, if I wanted to go to the gym, that was fine. My partner would, do her thing as well. But now with a young family, if I want to go to the gym, it means my partner has to look after our child, or if she wants to do something, I have to be the parent. And so it's not like both of you could necessarily have fun at the same time, sort of process, as it's not as bad as that, but you kind of get the idea. And when you work for yourself, the difficulties are, used to be able to, if I've got something really important to do, I'll just do it in the evening. Or, if I'm really excited by this project, I'll use my evening time to kind of like research it and things like that. But that has a big negative impact on your kind of family responsibilities and your time with your family as well. And you want your spouse to and your family to think that you're putting them first and not work first all the time. And really what they need to know is just clear establishing hours and that clear line of communication. By establishing clear working hours and having that clear communication of what you're doing and letting your other half know that that's what the plan is, that makes life so much more straightforward. So I generally say, unless there's a shoot on, I'm working 9 to 5, and I kind of structure that day. Now, of course, there's some times where I have to work outside those hours, but I think that just clear communication to feedback did make a real big difference, because again, when you're working on your own, you can kind of work all times of the day, but that's a real tricky point, especially when you now have other responsibilities as well. So try and set yourself those clear working hours, so you've got your working hours and then you've got your family hours as well, and then everyone's relatively on the same sort of page as well. My final thing is taking regular breaks. And again, if you're working on your own, you don't have a team like I'm fortunate to have, where I can go on holiday and things still operate and run itself, then that's quite a daunting task. But you have to take time with your family to spend away. And when you're off of work and you're on holiday, you need to make sure that you're fully focused on that family time. Don't spend your time at home thinking, or out on holiday thinking about being at work, and then therefore it will make it easier for when you spend your time at work to not think about being at home. When you're at work, work. When you're at home, be at home and be present. So this has been quite a transparent approach of kind of how I've dealt with that work-life balance and my change in environment as well. Running a production company isn't always easy, and I try and be as transparent as possible, because people will sit here and tell you all of the positive things and how successful they are and how they did that, but they've only done that by avoiding some of the challenges that you face. So if you're interested in knowing some of the dark truths about my video production company, then you should probably take a look at this video right now.